When I knelt down that night, none of the puppies came forward. That moment told me everything I needed to know. Even though I didn't yet understand the full story behind it, what I had expected to be a simple handoff turned into something far more revealing about breeding, responsibility, and what happens when structure quietly slips away from a litter that needs it the most. In this video, I want to take you with me into that moment.
And by the end of this story, you'll know the answer to a question I hear more than almost any other. Should I breed my dog?
Hello, fellow packmates. This is Jennifer Steckel from the Direwolf Project, where science meets the Ice Age. We're the only breeding program in the world recreating the exact bone and body structure of the extinct prehistoric dire wolf. Not for the wild, but for your loving family den, using only domesticated dog breeds. I've been raising these incredible American Direst dogs for over 20 years, delivering 73 litters and over 400 loyal pups to the world. You want to track upcoming litters or see which puppies are ready to join your pack? Join the inner circle at direwolfproject.com. If you love prehistoric pups and pack-centered wisdom, give us a like, hit subscribe, and let's step out of the den together.
This is a story about 5 puppies, an overwhelmed human, a broken den, and what it takes to put a pack back together again. If you've ever wondered why we do things differently here, this is the answer, told from the ground up. Just beyond the motel door, cars rushed past in the dark like migrating herds of reindeer running over the tundra. Unaware of how close 5 young lives stood to danger. Inside, the air carried the unmistakable weight of a defeated human dealing with more than he could handle. The strong dog smell reached me first, then the sight of 5 puppies, wide-eyed and unaware of their fate, huddled behind a man whose tired eyes told the story of too many sleepless nights. The puppies were 12 weeks old, still at an age when a pup should reach forward in a gentle tail wag, eager to greet the world around them. Instead, these puppies folded inward, every one of them pressed behind the only human they knew, bodies curved and trembling, eyes sliding away rather than meeting mine with curiosity. It was a familiar posture, older than civilization itself, the posture of prey animals and young canids who have learned that the safest place is not forward, but behind. I have seen this before, in the wild and in rescues, and it always tells the same story. These were not bad puppies with unstable temperaments. They were confused puppies without a strong pack leader to guide them into a confident self-assuredness. The motel room door opened freely toward the highway. Following their human, the 5 puppies stepped out cautiously together, uncontained and unguarded, while traffic thundered only yards away. Their mother barked from inside a nearby vehicle, her voice sharp with anxiety and confusion. In that moment, it was clear that the situation had become too crushing and help was needed right away. This is where I want to pause, because this moment explains everything about why the Direwolf Project exists the way it does. In many all-breed registries, such as the AKC, if both parents carry papers, their litter automatically does too. Pedigree alone becomes the deciding factor. Registration paperwork, follows bloodlines, regardless of whether the breeding itself was wise. That system does not care whether the breeding makes sense. It doesn't ask about environment, temperament, genetic diversity, or whether the human involved is equipped to steward a litter from birth through placement. It does not ask whether the puppies will have a safety net when things go sideways. At the Direwolf Project, we ask all of those questions before a breeding ever takes place. American Direwolf dogs are not a genetic breed that can be produced anywhere under any circumstances. They are emotionally sensitive, cognitively complex companion dogs, shaped by thousands of years of predator intelligence and pack dynamics. These are thinking dogs, not just in how they learn, but in how they feel. They need leadership the way Ice Age canids once needed a stable home range and a reliable hunt. Without it, their soul turns inward. That night, I placed those 5 puppies into crates for the first time in their lives. Their bodies shook as the world narrowed around them. Not because crates are cruel, but because structure was new for them. One pup soiled its crate, offering only a small whine beforehand, as if it had never learned to ask for help. Puppies who have been heard through a consistent structure will ask a human to come to their aid. But puppies who have not learned that lesson simply endure their need in silence. On the road, under the cold winter sky, I stopped in an empty rest area and was finally able to meet each puppy one by one. I could not simply let them out, since they did not know me and were too overwhelmed by the transition to follow along behind me. So I had to introduce them to the leash for the very first time in their life, in the dark, with a stranger they did not yet trust. Some puppies froze where they were placed. Some cried out in panic. One puppy fought every rule with fierce independence, testing whether leadership would hold or break. And still, none of them showed aggression. There was no snapping, no hard eyes look, and no growling. Only fear, emotional reliance, and the slow beginning of learning. 2 hours later, in a small fenced-in pet area at Love's travel stop, something shifted in those young minds. In that enclosed space where they could run freely once again, the puppies moved together as a litter, showing how bonded they were to each other. They ran, pottied, sniffed, and played beneath the night sky. Their little nervous systems that had been locked in heightened vigilance were finally able to feel some relief. Their tails lifted, their bodies loosened, and one by one they came to me for touch, reassurance, and connection. This is what happens when a pack finds its footing again. By morning, their personalities began to surface like fossils emerging from thawing ground. Red Collar turned out to be a soft female who wanted nothing more than to follow a steady leader. Pink Collar Male showed me that he learned quickly and carried stress inward. Yellow Collar Male was a patient observer who needed time before he would act. Gray Collar Male was a gentle follower content to move with the group. And Green Collar Male had an independent mind, sharp and strong, who would either fracture or flourish, depending entirely on the quality of leadership offered to him.
So now, after walking through this story together, we can finally return to the question that brought many of you here. Should you breed your dog? Only if you are prepared to be responsible for every life that decision creates, not just at the moment of birth, but for years afterwards. Only if you have the structure, education, mentorship, and emotional resilience in place before a litter ever exists. That means a plan for health, a plan for temperament, a plan for placement, and a plan for what happens when circumstances shift and things do not unfold the way you imagine them. Only if you are willing to step in when the nights grow long and sleep disappears, when confidence falters, when fear or confusion shows up in a young puppy's eyes, and when the puppies need more than just good intentions to feel safe in the world. Breeding does not end when the puppies leave your home. It echoes forward into the lives they live, the homes they enter, and the humans who will depend on them. And if you are not ready to carry that responsibility fully, without shortcuts and without retreat, then the most loving choice you can make is not to breed at all.
This is why we do not allow just anyone with 2 American Direst dogs to breed and obtain official litter registration afterward. This is also why every breeding under our care has to be approved in advance. This is why even participants in our surrogate breeder program operate under oversight from a certified breeder and within time-limited contracts. This is why we match puppies to homes intentionally tailored to each puppy's personality, taking into account individual temperaments, family dynamics, environment, and the kind of leadership each individual puppy will need to thrive. We are strict about who can breed our dogs because we care about each and every life we bring into this world. An oops litter is actually not a small mistake. It is a group of living souls who will depend entirely on humans for their entire lives. It then becomes the responsibility of the human who allows the litter to be born to make sure those puppies have everything they need throughout their lives, keeping them from harm. When structure is missing, it is not registration paperwork that steps in at midnight or an all-breed registry that teaches a puppy how to walk beside a human for the first time. It is the human, the lifelong stewardship, responsibility, and enduring presence who does that. This is why no American Direst dog owner will receive an opposite sex puppy without proof of spay or neuter of any other dogs in their home. This is because we wish to protect the integrity of a rare and precious genus of companion in order to ensure that every puppy born under our influence enters the world with a plan, a safety net, and advocates who will be there for their entire lives. If more breed organizations operated this way, we would not see the backyard breeding crisis we see today. Puppy mills would struggle to exist in a world where every breeder remained accountable and every dog born into this world was tracked by a responsible breeder for life. Knowledge would then replace guesswork, and care would replace convenience. Remember, the Dire Wolf Project does not guard the den in order to keep others out, but in order to keep the puppies inside safe while they grow into confident, loving, tail-wagging companions. That is preservation breeding and responsible leadership at its finest, and why our strict breeding standards exist. What comes next for this litter is a careful assessment of each puppy. Then they will be matched to families who understand the needs of an emotionally sensitive, thinking dog. Homes willing to step into the role of calm, consistent leaders will be chosen. From there, these young puppies can step into their destiny as confident, happy travelers walking among the human world. We hope that at least one of these puppies will carry the steadiness, focus, and heart required to go on to serve a disabled Marine veteran through the Direwolf Guardians American Direst Dog Training Program. Standing watch beside a human who needs a companion worthy of that special bond. This is what the Direwolf Project exists to do. Every puppy born into our orbit is known, protected, and carried forward with care. Our community is unique because it chooses responsibility over convenience and stewardship over a quick buck. We are not simply breeding dogs. We are preserving a lineage, a unique inherited companion dog temperament, and a promise that no puppy will ever be left wandering without a pack. And when these 5 puppies step forward into their futures, they will do so on steady ground beneath their feet, a clear trail ahead of them, and a legacy that will outlast this moment like tracks in the snow, leading safely home.